Last week's short centered around collectible Garfield glasses from McDonald's that originated somewhere in the 1980s. It was determined that it was unlikely that these breakable pieces were inserted in Happy Meals because at that time kids received little plastic toys or small coloring books alongside their cheeseburger or McNuggets. This week's short, however, spotlights a Kidz Bop CD that appeared in Happy Meals around 2009. Apparently, the kind of technology kids had access to in the early 21st century was a marked improvement from their 1980s counterparts. Jara and Nikki were my last two guests for the night at Defiant Records and Craft Beer in Laconia, New Hampshire last fall. And what perfect people to talk about this item, since it was their generation who got to enjoy compact discs with their kids' meals instead of tiny plastic Muppet Baby toys. Alright, so this is the last dissection of the night. With me I have
Jara.
Jara? That's a nice name.
Thank you. Nikki.
And Nikki is also a nice name.
Thank you.
And this is the EPS podcast where everything's a primary source. And I'm at Defiant Records in Laconia, New Hampshire, and Craft Beer. And the thing that caught your eye was this Kidz Bop from the Happy Meal from 2009. This is number 3. So apparently there's more than one, at least 3 of these. And so we're looking at a list of songs including Beautiful Girls, Pon de Replay, Hey There Delilah, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, which isn't really from that same time period, and then Kidz Bop World. I don't know if that's like Spice World. And the question that we're asking, and we're going to figure out what it can tell us about 2009 is, why did they make it? So first of all, who do you think they is? Who is they? Tell me what you know about Kidz Bop.
I mean, they were the same age as us. They were singing the songs we all listened to. They were kids. Stuck out to us.
It's a curious thing. I remember Kidz Bop, I think it started out probably late 90s or so. I remember seeing the commercials for them, and I always kind of wondered to myself, why is it not just like the actual radio song? Why isn't that good enough? Why do we have to have a chorus of kids singing the song? Why do you think that they're like, yeah, we need to have kids? Is it because, like you just said, it was what you were already doing anyway?
Because people like to market to kids way too much.
Which is funny because the audience for that would be, obviously if this isn't a Happy Meal,
yeah,
they don't really have a lot of their own money or say in what is being bought. Like it's not like, but a Happy Meal, I think last time I bought one, which was yesterday.
I was going to say they have the adult ones now.
Isn't that funny? Like oh, they do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They're doing a promotion right now.
Okay, well, because I know that so I have a son. I didn't just buy one on my own. But the one I bought, the reason why I bought it is because my wife and I are trying to collect all of the buckets because it brings us back to our youth. Because back when we were kids, they had the jack-o'-lantern McDonald's, and you could wash it 3 times, it would still smell like McDonald's, which wasn't a bad thing. But they're marketing those again because they know how nostalgia works. So the McDonald's Happy Meal, I know this for a fact, is like, well, nowadays it's like $8, but in 2009 it was probably like $3. Which is, I don't think you could buy a CD back then for $3. It'd probably be at least $12. Yeah. So that might be part of it, is why they made it so that kids could get their album. Now, did either one of you own an album like this, a Kidz Bop?
I think I did. I owned all of them. I think I owned up to like 12.
Oh my god, did you really?
Yeah.
So we first met when we were like 8 years old in 2nd grade, which was probably a couple years before the CD. And Jara made a mixtape of Jonas Brothers, Camp
Kidz
Rock,
Bop,
Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
And that's
all
just why I
it.
associate with this right now.
That's so funny because I always think about that era, and I'd pretty much figured out my musical tastes by 2009 because I was born in 81, so I was like 28 years old by that point. So I kind of knew what I liked, and but I like that you said that it was a mix. So it was a mixed CD.
Oh yeah,
because it wasn't a mixed tape. Mixed tape was beforehand,
right. Yeah.
And then it wasn't long afterwards that it would be mix like playlists, right? You wouldn't even bother with a CD anymore, because that also kind of dates this thing too, that it's a CD player. So you know that people are still listening to CDs. What is it that you liked most about the Kidz Bop, in addition to, like you said before, it was about other kids your age singing the music?
Yeah, it kind of, I mean, it changes the lyrics, obviously, from the explicit lyrics, so it kind of gives kids a chance to listen to that music without being introduced to that language or
And I feel
activity or anything. It kind of gives them a chance to listen to good music if it's a good song, but keep it appropriate.
Right, kind of like the Christina Aguilera song "Genie in a Bottle."
Yeah,
I remember seeing
exactly.
the Disney Channel version of that was like, my friends are saying "Let's go," you know, and that's not the original lyrics. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say like the same thing. Like parents wouldn't let you listen to certain music unless it was
Especially if you're my
censored.
mother.
Yes, especially when you're God forbid Amy listens to this. But
One of my biggest listeners.
imagine. But I think that was a big part of it. Being uncensored with music for the first time, having that introduction to it.
Do you think that was an important quality? You know, because when I was a kid, like the same age group, in my day, in the 80s, because like every now and then a song will come on the radio, like there's that, I think there's Tears for Fears, like Everybody Wants to Rule the World, or the Police, the do 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 da da da. One of those songs comes on, and that reminds me of me being transported from home to preschool. Like that's my like connection. It's like that the mid '80s, early '80s like pop mix was like my soundtrack to daycare and kindergarten and stuff like that. And they didn't have, as far as I know, too much of the Kidz Bop type stuff when I was a kid. It was like, you can listen to this music. But so what you're saying is that almost like what's allowed on the radio and what's put onto CDs and to pop music had widened so much that they are like, no, we can't have the kids listening to that. We got to give them their own watered down version.
Yeah.
And so it kind of tells us the direction that pop music had gone by that point, that they can't just say, well, just listen to the actual Rihanna song. No, you're going to listen to 12, 9-year-olds scream it, for,
Yes.
hey, Mr. DJ, on the replay. We don't even know what we're singing about, but so do you think it's important for kids to have ownership of things like music and other things?
I think when the CD came out was right around when we were going from elementary school to junior high, and I think that was really significant. You wanted to seem like the cool kid when you were about to be the bottom of the food chain. Yeah.
Right. Well, isn't that interesting? So you went to junior high, not middle school.
Well, I would say middle school, but I feel like most people know junior high.
Well, it's changing, I think, quite a bit because, your junior high for the longest time was like most places 7th and 8th grade. It was separate from the elementary school. And that's such a key thing that you just pointed out, because I think definitely by 2009, that term middle school had kind of encompassed most of the country, that
absolutely
it would be like 5th through 8th.
Yeah.
And that's it's turning into a middle time in your life, whereas in previous generations, that wasn't, not middle age by any means, but that wasn't middle school. That was, like you said, you were moving up from being the kings of the elementary school in 6th grade to then being, like you said, the bottom of the barrel in 7th grade. And so this was almost like a status symbol is what you're saying. It was like...
Almost, yeah. You knew what songs were cool, and even if you listened to the real version of it, you knew the Kidz Bop.
Like, I know Sean Kingston. Yep, I know him. Yeah, I'm going to go see him.
I know who that is.
Yeah. And who, by the way, that's another layer to this, is... he, I think, was one of those original YouTube stars, wasn't he? I remember it was like
Sean Kingston.
I'm not sure.
He got his fame along with Justin Bieber.
I was gonna say Justin Bieber's the one that comes to mind for me.
Uploaded themselves onto YouTube and they were discovered that way, and
which is wild. I feel old now.
Is Beautiful Girls the one that has the lyrics suicidal suicide? Is that one?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm
think so.
sure this Kidz Bop version probably edited that out.
Oh,
'cause
definitely.
I'm sure it was like
I don't even remember what it says, but
super happy.
something like that.
No one's dying, we promise.
Right.
No one's gonna kill
We don't go that
themselves.
far. We're just going to be happy that we're listening to Kidz Bop and
Yeah.
eat your French fries and apple slices because
Yeah.
I think it was around that same time. I remember going to McDonald's. So my wife likes to collect like dolls and different not that sounds like she's a hoarder or something, but like she collectible things, and every now and then they would have Madame Alexander dolls. They had like a Wizard of Oz series. They had a Little Women series that they would put in McDonald's Happy Meals. And so I gladly, in that time period, I'm like, oh, you need a Tin Man doll? I don't know. I guess I'll have to go to McDonald's again and get you another one. And I was just like, the food. And the same time period, because I feel like they were putting things in the Happy Meals that had wider appeal than just the little kids, because it wasn't like the Berenstain Bear toys or the Muppet Babies or something like that. Now we're putting in, collectible dolls.
That's like what they're doing now. They're doing the collectible figure, like, what's the purple thing's name?
Grimace.
Yeah,
Yes,
that guy.
Grimace.
Which I've never nailed down exactly what he's supposed to represent. Like Fry Guys, I get that, and all the other characters are assigned to different food.
Yeah.
What is Grimace?
I thought he was supposed
thought he
to
was
be
like
the
a
secret sauce.
Oh, really? I
don't know.
The
Is he
closest I ever got
purple?
was milkshake, but he's purple, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. That he represents like the desserts or something. I don't know. But yeah, right. He just terrifies people ultimately.
Absolutely.
Isn't it amazing how? And I told you where I found this CD,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't mention it. As you can probably imagine from my table of crap, I don't hesitate when there's something on the side of the road. It's like I pick it up, if it's any value to it. And I think a lot of us in the 21st century do that. There's
Oh yeah.
not enough room in landfills, so we, can give it a second life. And
One
so
man's
there was
trash is another man's treasure.
exactly that's our mantra. I should have that on my house. Somebody's trash is my treasure. And so we found like a easy chair on the road years ago, and it was like a faux leather. It looked nice, but it's not real leather. We picked it up and had it in our house for went from one room to the next for years, and then just a few weeks ago we went to throw it away finally, because we're like, okay, we've had enough out of this. It's it's kind of getting gross. The cats had scratched it all up and stuff, proving it's not real leather. And as we're throwing away, it's like rattling, and I went and I opened it up, and there's like pen caps and stuff that I recognize, and this CD. Like,
That's great.
we didn't own this in 2009, and I
Does it
never.
work is the question.
I'm like, where did this come from? Like, somebody must have been like, enough of this, and like threw it into a chair. And there's probably some little kid. They always say like every time you see a balloon floating away, there's a kid crying somewhere. Wherever you see a Kidz Bop CD in a chair, there's some kid crying, "Where's my Kidz Bop?" So, thank you so much for closing the night out here at
you.
Defiant
Thank
Records
you.
and Craft Beer, and I'm so glad this one finally got some attention. So, have a great night.
Thank you.
It may be a bit odd to hear kids singing along to songs with themes beyond them, but once they are school age, many children want to emulate their older siblings and neighbors as much as possible. They saw teenagers enjoying top 40 radio, MTV videos, and by 2009, downloaded MP3s, and they wanted to take part. These CDs, and at least initially tapes, met kids under 12 and their parents in a nice compromise. The kids and tweens, a turn-of-the-century term for sure, got their music, and parents still had a level of control of what they heard, since it was a mass-produced CD and not an internet download. Plus, by acting as a clearinghouse for these CDs, family-centric McDonald's took part in the process by curating the songs that allowed for the balance everyone was looking for in that era. If you like what you hear, please consider becoming a patron for the show at patreon.com/EPS podcast. For just a few dollars a month, you can show your support for the show, plus get a few gifts in return. Otherwise, follow the show on all social media outlets, especially Instagram, as well as YouTube, and recently on Substack, epspodcast.substack.com. We'll talk to you next time on the Everything is a Primary Source podcast, where everything, truly, including Kidz Bop CDs and McDonald's Happy Meals in 2009, are primary sources.